Hose, the space-saving retractable hose system, solves the problem of storing a central vacuum hose.
Introducing the Hose 6000 Pro, the ultimate retractable hose central vacuum valve. After 21 years of listening to our customers and dealers, it became clear that simply enhancing our existing valves wasn't enough. We compiled a list of complex issues that required solutions and embraced them as opportunities to innovate. What we hear from those who hold the Pro for the first time is that it feels solid, heavy, and substantial, especially the way the door opens and closes. Most installers have had the experience of showing up to trim out an install only to find the wall cavity you installed the valve in is full of spray foam insulation. There is really only one way to efficiently deal with foam insulation. Install the valve housing at rough-in and the door at trim. Once the valve housing is installed, we own that space and the insulation can go wherever it wants. Too often we find ourselves in a compromise between over-tightening the screws to eliminate the gap between the wall and the door of a central vacuum valve, and then backing the screws off so the door closes properly. We seem to always be trying to mount a flat door frame on a curved wall. What do you think causes this? We did a simple test. We installed a mounting tab on the front of a stud and covered it with sheetrock. What we discovered was that the mounting tab on all central vacuum valves can cause the drywall to bow. After showing this to dealers, we learned that many installers were aware of this. In fact, we talked to numerous installers who told us they actually take the time to notch out the stud. There is a way to solve this problem. We went back to our original valve design and decided to mount the 6000 Pro to the inside of the stud. This solves the problem. We can now install the door on a flat wall. Simply mark the desired height on the stud that you want the trimmed out door to be. Then line that up with the line on the top of the valve housing. This will be your finished door height. Do the same thing upside down for a down-oriented install. Locating tabs are designed to ensure that you are flush with the face of the stud. These tabs are thin enough not to create any kind of bow in the drywall. When installing the two mounting screws, it is easier if you use a long magnetic Phillips bit. It will give you a shallower angle when inserting the screws. Just like any central vacuum valve, it is important to make sure it is level. We designed a custom leveling shim that comes with every valve. It's a U-shaped tapered shim that straddles the screw. If you need to level, simply push the shim up or down until you hit level, then tighten. If we're going to put the most expensive part of the valve in first at rough-in, then we felt we needed to make it as secure as possible. So we designed a smart mounting brace that gives us a 3-point mounting system. The brace comes with every valve. It just snaps in place and it's reversible, so you can use either direction depending on what side of the stud you mount the valve. If you are really cautious, you could add a little glue to the brace before you snap it in place. As you can see, the brace really helps keep the valve secure, significantly improving the odds of an easy and successful trim. One disadvantage of putting the valve in at rough-in is that it is difficult to remove after drywall. This could be a problem if the wire connections came loose behind the wall. So we designed the Pro in a way that eliminates wire connections behind the wall altogether. There is a conduit opening large enough for 2 sets of wires. Make sure to pull enough wire through and tie a loop to make sure the wire cannot get pulled back out during construction. Each valve comes with spade connectors to connect directly to the switch. Our goal was to ensure that drywallers will not cover the valve. The raised design and yellow paint of the new mud cover should prevent them from ever covering. The thicker edge will give drywallers a guide to cut their hole, hopefully making a more accurate cut. The raised mud cover also gives us room to store our low-voltage wire. The standard door on the Pro trims out a wall thickness of up to 1 inch. But what happens if you show up to trim out a valve and discover that the wall was finished with an extra piece of drywall or something that makes it thicker? You need a solution. Extension kits can be glued onto the door. One extension kit will work with a wall thickness of up to 1 3/4 inch. The extension kits can be stacked for extreme situations. When designing this valve, we thought long and hard about alternative ways to make a lock and seal. Although we could not come up with a better concept, we did find some ways to improve it. The most noticeable change is the new push and pull locking lever. In the testing we performed, people generally found it more intuitive and easier to use. The other key feature of the pull lock is that when the door closes, it pushes the lever in, so you cannot close the door with the valve in the locked position. The heart of our locking mechanism is our patented rubber sleeve, which allows full suction at any length of hose. When the lock is engaged, the sleeve is compressed and it seals and locks around the hose. When the lock is disengaged, it springs back to the original shape, allowing the hose to pass through. We tested new materials for the rubber sleeve and discovered that a new material called Polymax is not only more durable but has stronger spring-back qualities. We also increased the diameter of the rubber sleeve and now have a straighter path for the hose to travel through the locking mechanism on the 6000 Pro. We designed a new way of sealing the door with the 6000 Pro. It features a much bigger sealing surface, which makes it easier and more efficient to seal. We definitely felt there was a way to improve the door closure from the 5000. The locking bumps work, but they are something less than smooth, especially if you over-tighten the screws on a bowed wall. We went back to magnets like in our original valve. The door just has a great feel to the way it opens and closes. It feels smooth and solid. We also figured out how to press the magnets in from the back of the door frame, so if they were ever to fall out, they would fall behind the wall, eliminating the chance that a child might swallow one. The 6000 Pro allows the hose to rest in the bottom of the valve chamber, so you don't have to worry about the hose pushing against the door on tall ceiling installs. We looked at a lot of ways to turn the system on and off, and realized that our current rocker switch is simple and reliable, mostly because it does not have a lot of moving parts. It's intuitive for users and easy to replace if it ever fails, and the door automatically turns the switch off when it closes. When installing the 6000 Pro in an existing home, use the mud cover as a template to cut around. It may be easier if you remove the locating tabs, but it is not necessary. The valve easily fits into the wall. It can slide down below the hole just enough to attach the pipe. However, it's not so thin that it can drop out of reach behind the wall. A zip tie around the pipe may be helpful to pull it into place, or you can choose to push the pipe on from above. Since the valve housing is not designed to come out of the wall once it's installed, we spent a lot of time thinking about how to replace parts if needed. With the 6000 Pro, all of the moving parts are made with special materials designed for strength and smoothness. The unique design allows for all of the parts to be removed without removing the valve from the wall and without the need for any tools. We are proud to introduce to you the new 6000 Pro Retractable Hose Central Vacuum Valve. Our goal isn't just to be known as the company that started the retractable hose revolution, but to be the fuel that drives the industry's growth. Join us in shaping the future of central vacuum systems.